Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of the SE25 cast. Today we'll be discussing the frustrating draw against West Ham, the team overall, the great refereeing by Craig Pawson, the next few games, and finally our predictions at this point for the rest of the season. Joining me today on this journey will be Law and Miles. So you can say hello, Law.
Good evening.
And Miles.
Hey guys.
Right, so let's begin. Firstly, I know we seem to complain about referees on here pretty often. And honestly, I didn't want to have to start off with this, but I personally was getting very, very frustrated at the referee. And to be honest, I think emotion and rage-wise at Selhurst, it was one of the most toxic experiences I've had in a while at Selhurst. Most of the time, the crowd were just literally going absolutely mental. Law, I know you watched it on the stream, but did you hear anything on the stream with everyone booing the ref and all that crap?
Yeah, I heard some booing throughout different parts of the game. Honestly, I felt overall that the refs' performance, obviously every game the refs are going to be shit because that's just how it is being a football fan. But I think normally I'd lean towards the side of that we were hard done by. However, I do feel that there was a couple of instances that we were quite lucky. I think Luca on a different day would have got sent off and that would have really fucked us. I don't think we would have had the momentum going into the second half if we were down to 10 men. As for hearing things on the stream, yeah, the fans, we were getting kind of aggy. But overall, I can't really give out too much because I think we were a little bit lucky ourselves.
Yeah, I know someone thinks the West Ham match threads. Actually, no, I don't know if they did. I brought a West Ham fan with me undercover to the game, and he was checking the Hammers Reddit after the game, and it seemed like that was what they were going on about more than anything. Was they obviously thought the refereeing was bad in the second half when we didn't get Lucas sent off. But I mean, it's different for me to say because I honestly haven't watched the highlights. I'm just looking at it from when I was watching the game, and it's obviously a little bit biased because pretty much screaming and shouting regardless if we were in the right or wrong. The one thing that I took out of it, which I'm not sure what you guys will think based on watching the highlights, but I didn't think that Wan-Bissaka's yellow card was a yellow card because it looked to me that he clearly got the ball, but I don't know what you think.
Never a yellow card, yeah. I saw the replays and he followed through a bit, but it wasn't two-footed. He just had 1 foot out, got nothing but the ball, and you can't really adjust when you're coming in like that. That's just contact. There's nothing bad about it. It's just fucking a football tackle. There's no way that that's a yellow card, So in that sense, the referee is fucking useless. But like I said previously, I think it evens out a bit what with the stuff that Luca got away with. But yeah, that's just a wasted yellow card for no reason.
There was another incident. I'm not sure if you remember from the stream as well. Second half, sort of maybe halfway through the second half, Zaha blatantly got fouled down near their area. And then Luca got fouled, well, apparently, which was nowhere near a foul, but the referee still gave it. And that's when I knew for sure that referee has lost control of the game because Luca just wasn't fouled, but Zaha was. And I think he felt bad that he never gave that. And I thought a lot of the time with his decisions, especially with the West Ham guys, there was a guy next to me saying exactly the same as well. It just took one of the West Ham players to go down and then maybe just start rolling around a bit. And then he thought, yeah, he might actually be injured. Okay. And that's the yellow, by the way. It's just there was something about our ref was absolutely pissing me off. He just wasn't good at all. I know Miles hasn't spoke much because he didn't actually fully watch the game. He's just going by the highlights. But if we go on to the penalty incident, and that was another one where just before the penalty incident, they had a free kick, which led to all of that stuff, which from where I was personally didn't see why it was a free kick in the first place. But Miles, what did you think of Vincent's charging out and stuff and the whole penalty incident?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to deny, I think that is obviously a blatant pen, but obviously, well, it might have happened anyway, but the free kick leading to it, the referee, the player goes down and then he sees that, but he thinks, no free kick. And then he stays there, rolls around a bit, and the referee, after 5 seconds, thinks, all right, yeah, I'll just give them the free kick. It seemed like he was kind of being bullied by the West Ham players a little bit. And talking about Zaha incident, I think by speaking out to the media and being so honest, he's kind of got himself some unfair treatment from the refs, because they feel like he's targeted them. So I think his treatment's actually gotten worse, and he's got the reputation for diving, which I think is completely unfair. And the referees just assume that he's just diving, but he's just not, and he gets kicked to pieces every game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do think that he's been treated unfairly. Have you got anything to add on that, Law?
Yeah, I mean, going back briefly to, what was it? It was the Southampton game when he got sent off.
Yeah, it was.
Like, that was 18-year-old Wilf just kind of shining through a bit. And I was honestly really disappointed in him with that. Cause like, that Southampton game, I could go on for half an hour about that fucking mess. But the point of it is that he gets frustrated, and it's fair to see because he's been tarred with the brush of like, he's a diver, so let's just give the opposing player the benefit of the doubt kind of thing. I hope he sorts himself out though, like keeps his head down, because even though it's frustrating as fuck for him, he can't keep doing stuff like that because it's never going to go right for him if that's the kind of attitude, if he throws a strop every now and then. In regards to the penalty, that's obviously a penalty all day. I can't remember when it was exactly in the game, but I do remember fucking Antonio, somebody went up for a challenge with him, and they kind of just brushed him on the back a little bit, and the ball just kind of hit him in the face, and he goes down like a sack of spuds. And I'm like, we were seriously linked with this guy in the summer. Fuck him. Fuck him. Diving little pussy. But yeah, in regards to the penalty, what can you do? It's unfortunate, and luckily we got a point out of it, so...
Yeah, I agree with Antonio as well. Like I said, I had my mate Louis there, who was West Ham, and the amount of times where West Ham, Noble was one of the worst for it as well, just constantly on the floor. It was like they were on ice skates, and they would dive, and then they would get a free kick, and then I'd just slowly turn to him, and then just not say anything. But I mean, my voice is still kind of dying a bit, so apologies to anyone listening, but I've just had such a sore throat since like Friday, and then going into Saturday, God's sake, the amount I was screaming and shouting at the ref, I just lost my voice even more, but luckily I'm on the mend anyway. I just wanted to say as well, if any of you are wondering about the whole Snodgrass stuff, if you were there or heard it on the stream, I was booing him every time. I completely forgot about this. I had to look it up after. It's because of that whole dive incident where he dived and got a penalty against us when he was playing for Hull. So that's why we were booing him to fuck every time he got the ball. So we'll move on swiftly to our inability to put chances home while at home. So MacArthur's miss, I couldn't believe it. Batshuayi's miss, I couldn't believe it. The Benteke ones were still bad, but I mean, because they're at the other side of the field, it wasn't so bad for me because I couldn't really see it properly. But Miles, I know you've watched the highlights, so we'll go with you on this one. Was you pretty much tearing your hair out watching the highlights?
Yeah, so obviously I didn't watch the game, and when I saw the result I thought, oh, we've done all right here, we've drawn to West Ham, they've got a good squad. But then watching the highlights, I was just in shock, to be honest. But it's just, I don't know what is with us at home. We always seem to play well, but we can never finish our chances. And I know the highlights are condensed. It was just chance after chance after chance in the second half, and the finishing was just dreadful, to be honest. The MacArthur one, he almost has an open net, he's sat Fabianski down on the ground, he has two options to pass to, and somehow he just puts it wide. I can't imagine like what it must have been like at Selhurst Park when he did that. And Benteke got it on target at least, and Zaha had a few chances as well. And Batshuayi, it looked like he was trying to take it on his right foot, but then it came slower than he thought, so he had to take it on his left, which is unfortunate. But one thing to comment on, if they didn't have Fabianski, we would have won that game. He played very well, and I think West Ham got a good keeper. But we need to learn to finish our chances. And as much as I like him, I think it is a problem with Roy or the management or something, because ever since he came in, our players just have forgotten how to finish, and Benteke's turned into a shell of a player. So I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, we had 25 shots, 5 of them being on goal, 10 shots off goal, and apparently 10 block shots, and 1 goal out of all of that. Law, what was your opinion on that?
Honestly, it's frustrating watching this team because we're used to mediocrity. We've been mediocre all but one season we've been in the Premiership, and we've been used to relegation battles and not really utilising our strikers like we should. Again, bar one season with Benteke. Yesterday was infuriating, even by those standards. The Southampton game, I'll just touch on that a little bit. This goes back to how we're set up as a team. We're playing at home, and we're set up with the likes of MacArthur, Koyate. I'm just saying in general, we'll go with MacArthur, Koyate, and Luca. And now yesterday, we didn't have Koyate, we had Schlupp. And so we have Maka, Schlupp, and Luca. That doesn't breed attacking football. And we're playing at home as well. So we should be going for a win, right? Or at the very least, we should be wanting to create chances, which obviously yesterday we did. But for a lot of times this year when we've been playing at home, we've been perfectly fine with just kind of staying off the ball and trying to get a goal on the counter and everything. And I think for Palace fans, it's frustrating to see that, especially at home, especially when you do Man City, and you almost do Liverpool, like two teams going for the fucking title and you're fucking them over, no problem. The like Southampton and West Ham, you're kind of scraping by with draws and everything. And yeah, the MacArthur chance was the most criminal yesterday. That genuinely pissed me off because he smiled afterwards. And it's not often that I get really pissed off with MacArthur, but yeah, that shot, just blast it at Fabianski so that he can save it or something. I wouldn't even be mad. I'd be just like, you know what? It's fine. He's not a striker, whatever. But instead, he takes his time to miss it as well, which is outstanding effort. Do you know how much mental capacity it takes to take that much time to fuck a shot out of bounds? Not even hitting the post, the keeper, another player, nothing, just completely out for a fucking goal kick. Complete wanker. Fuck you, Maka. As for Benteke, I could go on for a little bit about Ben, but I'd try not to. If you read what I say in the Discord, a lot of people would think that I'm a Benteke hater, and I'm not. But I try to be very understanding because the man, the man's knee blew up, and he's had knee issues for maybe close to 2 years now, and he's coming back from injury. I'm willing to write this season off, as like him just kind of coming back to full fitness. I don't have a problem with that, but I don't like the fact that he starts games because he doesn't do a lot. He had one really good chance yesterday in the first half and he hit it at Fabianski and he saved it. It was a decent save, but the shot was kind of swinging away from him a bit, and it was a good shot though. At least he was getting in the penalty area and being a striker, Bats as well, when he came on, he had a pretty good chance that he'd done a bit of a MacArthur with, but I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, like I've rambled and I'm sorry about that, boys, but there's a lot of thoughts in my head. But basically, yeah, 25 shots and only one goal. That's not good enough, especially at fucking home, and especially this season because it seems to be incredibly fucking tight this year. Even, those shithouses in fucking Cardiff, they're picking up points now. So we need to get as many wins as we can. And with 25 shots and only one goal, with only 1 point to come out of it, is just not good enough.
Yeah, you brushed over a couple of points that I was going to go to, especially the Benteke performance. And just a quick one on what you were saying. You said you didn't want Benteke to start, but I think makes more sense him starting and Bats to come on in his place. Or what I was even thinking is that game, I was half expecting him to take, just before the goal, to take MacArthur off and bring Bats on with Benteke. So I don't know what you would have thought. Well, we'll go with you, Miles. I know you didn't watch the game, but do you think that's something that could maybe work in the future? Because think of the last home game, the Fulham game, it was Ayew and Benteke up front. And that seemed to be a lot better for Benteke when he suddenly got into his head that he was going to start doing overhead kicks and just go on a mad one. So do you think maybe Bats and Benteke starting is a better plan for Roy, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think that could work, but I think part of the reason that it worked quite well between Benteke and Ayew is because Ayew has loads of energy, so he can do all the running for Benteke and he can go and chase down the ball, and Benteke, he only really has to challenge for headers and like hold up the ball. Not controversial, but differing to your opinion, I think our best lineup would be a 4-3-3 with Zaha, Batshuayi and Townsend up front. To be honest, I wasn't really surprised Batshuayi didn't start considering he's only been here a week and Roy's Roy and he refuses to start good players. But I think moving forward, Batshuayi should start, and MacArthur, although he's been a good servant to the club and he always puts in a lot of effort, Maya needs to start. He was playing Champions League last season. He's being benched to Slough and MacArthur. And what I think is he's got quite good understanding of Zaha's game and they link up quite well. So I think that's something that could help us moving forward.
Yeah, Law, I know you did have a talk about this sort of stuff, but what's your ideal soldiers on the front line for maybe the next game going forward?
I'm thinking preferably, I still don't really have a problem with us just fielding one up front, like one out and out striker. I really dislike Ayew playing any role in this team now. It's been like over, I don't know, almost 3/4 of a season, and I've watched him play, and I don't want him anywhere near the first team anymore. Benteke, yeah, I might be being a little bit harsh on not wanting Benteke to start, because obviously we need to get him match fit again, and get his confidence up. So yeah, maybe rotating Benteke with Bats for the rest of the season. I think that would be good. The one thing I like about Bats though is that the moment he came on, you could tell that he was just a different type of striker from Benteke, and he's smaller, he's a bit speedier, he can make room for himself off the ball. Benteke seems to have a bit of trouble doing these days. Again, that's not a fault on him. He's coming back from injury and everything. So again, like I said, I'm willing to ride that off for now. But yeah, the reason I would want Bats to start, if that ever did happen, was because I feel like with the inclusion of Wilf and Andros and maybe Meyer just behind, that's a front line that could really do some fucking damage, especially in the first half when you're not as gassed, Obviously, I don't think it will happen because Roy is so horribly stuck in his ways. But yeah, I think that's kind of like my ideal little, have a couple of games trying that for like a half or something.
Right, and we're sort of speaking about a lot of the same stuff, but I just want to brush on something else that we've sort of been speaking about. Basically, it's the pod. I know when we used to do it, it's always referee was shit, we can't score, Benteke's shit, Ayu's shit. And the one thing that we haven't said was shit was the subs. I know it took until the 60th minute for Bats to come on for Benteke, and in my opinion, that was pretty much needed. But I was still surprised that it took another 19 minutes, which was the 79th minute, for him to take MacArthur off for Maya, because the game was begging for Maya to come on for MacArthur. And there was still another sub that we didn't make, which maybe you could have made another one, who knows. But next game with MacArthur, I don't know if you guys would probably agree that it seems that Maya needs to start over MacArthur. But Law, what was your opinion on the subs? Do you think they came too little too late, especially the MacArthur one? Or do you think that Roy done it all right this time?
You know my answer already. This mental old cunt doesn't know how to make a sub unless somebody's fucking injured, I've been banging on about this all fucking year. We can go all the way back to the Swansea game in the League Cup when he brought on Sorloth in the 75th minute or something, and it's something insane like that. And this was the League Cup, it's a nothing game, right? And he waits until that long. But whatever, let's go back to the present day. Yeah, Mayer has needed to start in this team for the past 4 months. And it still hasn't happened. And MacArthur, don't get me wrong, I love Macca. He's been a great player for us. He's still important. He's still an important player for us. But he either needs to come off the bench or he only needs to play maybe 50 minutes a game. Because he can't do 90 minutes that often anymore. And we're still relying on him like he's a 90-minute player, and he's not, He's maybe got one 90-minute match in him a month. And the rest of the time, just bring him off the bench or something, right? He's the perfect, defensive centre midfield player that you would want to close out the last 40 minutes of your game or something if you're ahead. But you don't want him when you're 1-0 or 2-1 down and you're trying to look for some creativity to try and get back in the game. That's where you need Mayer. And it's genuinely frustrating to see that he brings him on, I think it was the 79th minute. Yeah. And you give the man 10 minutes and this West Ham game in particular, he was really good in that 10 minutes. He didn't have a problem going all the way into West Ham's box. He had no problem receiving the ball, passing the ball back out in tight situations. Give this kid opportunities and he's going to come good. He played for Schalke, for fuck's sake, not some bullshit second Bundesliga team. No, he was playing in a decent Bundesliga team. And for some reason we managed to pick him up and other teams didn't. And we're just leaving him on the bench. What is wrong with you, Roy? Give the boy 3, 4, 5 games in his preferred position and he'll come good, because you got all these fucking, can't even say that word. It's not politically correct. But you got all these fucking arseholes on Twitter saying, I'm not impressed with May. I'm not impressed with May. Well, what the fuck? He's getting 10 minutes a game. What can he do? What are you expecting? A fucking hat trick every game? And he's been played out of position. He's been played on the wing. He's been played more defensively in the middle. Just give him a run of games where he can do what he does, and you will understand why I am still firmly pro-Mayer, And in regards to the Batshuayi substitution, 60 minutes was great. Yeah, I was surprised, honestly. I was again, thinking more on the lines of 75th or whatever. As for the last substitution, I don't think it was necessary. I just checked our bench and we may be out of all of them, IU, but fuck that, it's like shooting yourself in the foot. So yeah, overall, TLDR, more Mayer, less MacArthur, bit more bats.
Well, I know you're dying to say something about our Mayor of London, Miles, so go ahead on that one as well.
Yeah, to be honest, at this point, I just feel sorry for him. We're holding him like he's some prisoner of war, and he's definitely going to leave it this summer if it carries on like this. He's got like so much potential, and he's just relying on the bench while MacArthur like runs around the pitch, missing open goals. And yeah, he's shown his class, but gonna go out on a limb and start a conspiracy theory. And to be honest, I think something's like happened between him and Roy, because he clearly has like quality. He's got assists and goals in him, but Roy just refuses to start him. He's either very loyal and like stubborn, or he hasn't forgotten about World War II yet, and he thinks Maya's a Nazi.
Well, judging by Hennessy, maybe so. Yeah, I thought, just a quick opinion from me on Mayer, I thought his link-up play with Zaha was unbelievable. They've obviously been practicing that. The way that it just completely changed. I know it was obviously PVA was still over there linking up, just pass it to Mayer, back to Zaha, back to Mayer, and then there was a couple of little back heels back to Zaha and stuff. And you just think we were completely opening them up down there. And I think that's the reason that Zabaleta came on sort of near the end as well, because Pellegrini could obviously see that we were just opening them up on that side, especially when Mayer came on. I think it was actually 5 minutes after Mayer came on that he made the substitution over there as well. So yeah, I think I'd be completely baffled if when we go to maybe not so much Doncaster, but Leicester, if he's not starting at Leicester away. Don't really understand it. We'll move on from the West Ham game now. Well, kind of. We've had a few results at Selhurst where obviously we should be winning, and even my mate said after that second half, he was like, you guys should have won that. Fair enough. In the first half, we might have deserved to be 1 down. We weren't the best. When we went into the second half, we was like a completely different team, and West Ham just didn't know what to do, it seems. We was completely all over them. I think I read earlier they had 4 or 5 touches in our box in the second half, which they weren't going to do anything to us. So it's not all 3 points lost. We only lost 2 points. But Miles, what do you think on like the rest of the season? If we can't keep throwing away these 2 extra points every time, can we? So do you think we've still got a good chance of, I don't think we're going to go down, but have we got a good chance to get somewhere, a good finish basically, if we're still throwing these points away?
To be honest, I can't see us getting top 10. There's still a lot of points to play for, but we're just not clinical enough. We can't close out games. Our game management isn't good, but I refuse to believe that we're going to go down with a squad filled of like, well, maybe not world class, but definitely like top 10 Premier League players. We're like team players who should be playing for the top 10 Premier League teams. But I can maybe see us finishing maybe 11th to 13th maybe, but I don't really have too much hope. I think our one little hopeful scenario is that we have a FA Cup run and we make it to the final maybe, but we'll probably just lose to Doncaster, to be honest.
I'm going to go on to the last 3 games, well, the next 3 games after this, but Law, what do you reckon on our chances for the rest of the season?
I agree that I think we're not going to go down this year. I think once again, we'll scrape by just like we have been. It's disappointing being in this situation again at this time of year for like the 3rd year in a row, I think now. I'm looking at some of our previous results and that Southampton game really pissed me off. That was a must-win game and we came out with a draw. We had the Watford game that we lost. Again, you could argue that we should have won that, or at least we should have scored more than 1 goal based on our first half performance. And I'm looking at the table right now, and like I said previously, it's really tight this year. You have the likes of Newcastle, Cardiff, Burnley, Brighton and Southampton. There's only 3 points between all of us. You have Fulham in 19th, but they only have 17 points. Them along with Huddersfield, I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're probably both down. Out of the rest of us, there's Palace, Brighton, Burnley, Cardiff, Newcastle, Southampton. I think Southampton or Cardiff are the 2 that are in big danger. But I mean, because again, when you compare all of our goal differences as well, we have -7 and that's really good. That shows that we have a good defense. But like Miles touched on, we're not very clinical. regardless of whether we're at home or away, we're just not good at putting away our chances and finishing out games. Again, I think it's going to be tight, but I think with the games that we will have to win in the future, I think we're going to win at least one or two of them that will give us enough points to give us some breathing room away from the bottom three.
Yeah, definitely. Although we're sort of going on a bit, it's nearly half an hour now. So what we'll do is, for the next 3 games, we'll include the Doncaster game as well, just because I'm going up there. We've got Doncaster away from home for the FA Cup, and then Leicester away, and then Man United at home. Just have a quick think about what you think the result's going to be. I reckon Doncaster would do them 2-0. Leicester, I've got a good feeling about that one. Maybe a 2-1 away from home. United, I'd fucking love to say we're going to beat them, but we just never do. But on that one, I'll go, I'm even going to be brave and say it might be a 3-2, even though we can't score fuck all at home. 3-2 to us, that is. Miles, do you want a brave prediction?
All right, so Doncaster, I think a tight 1-0 to us. Leicester away, we've sort of become Leicester's bogey team, so I'm going to say 3-1 to us, maybe. And Manchester United, yeah, our best chance to beat them was when they had Jose Mourinho at the start of the season, and we couldn't even do it then. So I can't really see it going that well for us. Maybe a 2-0 to them. I might be being a bit negative, but I just can't see us winning.
Log on as well, have you got yours?
I'm thinking, I was tempted to say 2-0 like you against Doncaster, but I'm more willing to go with Miles and go with a really tight 1-0, because that sounds really fucking Palace. For Leicester, yeah, I can see us doing them. I know we've won quite a few times against them over the past couple of years. Yeah, so I can see us winning 2-1 against Leicester, I reckon. And Man U, I think they're going to absolutely clatter us. They've been playing some really good football, unfortunately. I don't like admitting that.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Sorry that we're still sort of getting back into the whole rhythm of doing the podcast and stuff. We're hoping to get a few more people to join us and have a bit more of a wider array of podders. And hopefully we'll get another host to change it up a bit, because I'm sure you guys will get bored of hearing my voice soon enough. So yeah, thanks for sticking around though. And we'll hopefully see you next week for the Doncaster game.
I'll watch the game next week, so maybe I'll know what I'm talking about.